the meeting. Item 1 of the agenda, I think Mr. So-and-so and Mr. So-and-so has expressed inability to be present today. Leave of absence is granted to them. Item 2 of the agenda notes is minutes of the previous meeting. I think you have all read it, so if there are no queries on the same, can we take it as adopted, approved and adopted? Okay, thank you. Then the next item of the agenda, which is the sole purpose of today's meeting, is a proposal which my executive team has worked out for an expansion project. And
Mr. Chairman, and warm welcome once again and good afternoon. The context has been set well by the Chairman, and today we're here for an important mission in terms of considering a significant expansion plan. And just to give you a bit of a feel and context, we have built a name for ourselves in the market as a trusted brand, as a trusted company, and thanks to you for all the support.
We have worked out on the three options, one being buying new aircrafts, but I mean keeping in view the delivery of the aircraft being high. I mean, so as an executive team we have considered that we move on to the next one, that is buying out existing company, which could be adding to a lot of liabilities as well, and it's a long process to get into these acquisitions and merger.
When we look at these three options that our operations and business development have looked at, each of these options have a long-term and a short-term implication on the finance as well as the need of the business. The need of the business has arisen, as pointed out by MD, that we need to immediately go in for growth strategy, wherein we need to have new aircrafts at the earliest.
In terms of the opportunity that MD has outlined, in terms of like there's a year-over-year growth of about 8%. So we strongly feel there's a real business opportunity where we can expand further. So in addition to that, as our operations director has mentioned, it's very much feasible, and then we're in a very good competitive position. So there's a real genuine business opportunity, and if we can actually tap it in the right way, we can enhance the shareholder value.
Okay, looking at the three options, we've looked at what are the advantages of each and disadvantages. The first one is the one which has maximum concern from HR perspective. You know, when you're taking on a low-cost airline, we are a premium airline. Our branding itself is very different, and when we are looking at a low-cost airline, there are a lot of differences. As compared to the industry average, revenue per employee is at $1,000+, as well as when you're looking at the low-cost airline, it is much lower than the industry average.
What I would like to also see the purchasing option or buying out option, which is one of the point. Whether we have carried out any due diligence to know whether we can in a position to take over and take that culture along with our existing culture, or leasing out option, which you are strongly recommending. Leasing out option also may take certain time period to get the airlines to get that leasing.
In principle approval for either leasing it out or taking the acquiring the company.
yes, sir.
Normally the approval is for a value as well as for the time.
Yes, sir.
In the principal approval, whatever you are seeking, both are absent. So is there any plan? Can you any of you can elaborate us as to what is the plan for time frame, as well as what is the quantum of funds that you are acquiring directionally? May not be the accurate part of it.
Good afternoon, and I think it is a good decision to expand looking at the business that we are doing. But I have two current questions which refer to the current scale of operations. What is the operational efficiency that we are having as an airline today, and are we operating at say 100%, or what is the operational efficiency, and which are the markets that you need more reach? if you are thinking of expansion in any way, what are the markets that you are thinking to reach out?
Related to her question on what markets we want to expand to, I would just take a step back and can we have at least some data on how fast the market is growing, how fast we are growing, how are our shares moving in each of the markets? Are we looking at the same customer segments? Are we looking at different segments through leasing of this aircraft? What is the speed of expansion that we are targeting? Some data on being able to answer these questions.
Right.
Similar point on two areas. One is on the market share. If you're looking at, are we looking at expanding in the existing sector, or are we looking at new sectors like, say, a route that is not explored by any other airline? So, wouldn't there a low cost airline make sense, because the customer there wouldn't be looking at paying premium? So
Yes.
I have two questions. One is, what is happening in the market? Like, what is kind of competition is doing today? Is there any kind of investment plan from the competition that we need to really see? And second point is, I think when you are investing or when we are investing in this, what is the risk involved? And do we have a risk mitigation plan?
Just need one clarification, ma'am. When you started, you said that the growth was 8%, but the next year there was not much of growth. So my serious concern here is when the last year there has not been much of a growth. Have we done adequate research to see whether we need to plunge into this kind of an activity at this juncture? That's my question. The other aspect which I would like more clarification is, we've now decided that we either go for lease or an outright purchase. Now, when you go for an outright purchase, there is a cost involved. Maybe we may have to borrow and we may have to pay some. We have to pay the term loan installments. And when you do a lease, you have a lease rent to pay. So I need you all to do an analysis, cost benefit analysis, that if I have to lease, what will be the expense? Upfront it might look that lease is a convenient option because you don't have a waiting period. But I think,
taking the same point a little bit, I was told that the year-on-year growth has been 8%.
Yes.
For the last couple of years, it's been flat at 1%. Is it due to lack of demand? In case there is lack of demand, is there a need for this expansion? Do we need to do anything at all? And second thing is, what is the capacity utilization? What is the occupancy of our flights?
Okay.
And which routes? And are we getting up to 90% or whatever? What is the break-even occupancy at our price levels? And are you getting the requisite to fill up more capacity?
I think it is great to be a part of this meeting where the company is talking expansion and correlates with the industry growth that is happening in India and of course Asia Pacific as a whole. So I'm sure the executive side of the planning side of it must have considered the 5 years regulation.
Yes.
For international presence, and of course, one point there which need a lot of clarification in terms of using one model of aircraft or using multiple models and companies of aircraft, which will help us to expand on the shorter routes like a Bombardier and those kind of stuff.
Ask one question, which is about policy. Have we looked into the policy framework by the government if we go for an expansion or further lease of aircraft? And the second question is, have we done forecasting of profits and earnings for our shareholders for the next 5 or 10 years, whatever is realistically possible, in case of all the three options, so we can arrive at the most profitable option?
As suggested by CEO, that we were having an 8% growth per year, and suddenly we are thinking that we are not making that kind of profit. So we are deciding going into a expansion plan. But why we are not able to grow as per the previous growth? Have we checked that what are the factors? Are these our operational or quality of our service decrease, or HR functions, or because of the competition we are not able to gain that market share?
My colleagues on the board have made a point that the growth in the industry, growth in this particular venture was taking place at the rate of 8%. Now it has been decelerated to 1%. And to improve the growth and to improve the market share, they want to expand maybe by way of the three options that they have given. But the thing is that the external credit rating agency has rated this industry as high risk.
Actually, Madam had raised some issues related to policy and government policy with regard to permission and all. That was, that was the one point I would like to answer. Yeah.
But actually, that's what he summarized.
Fine.
Market reach and expansion was an issue raised. We will come out, and by the next meeting we will give full disclosure that this is the size of the basket and this is the slice of the cake that we have and this is the size that we want to go in. Okay?